What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Reservoir Dogs, the quote-unquote first film written and directed by, anyway, first film by Quentin Tarantino. Technically, Tarantino's first directorial film was called My Best Friend's Birthday, which I just found out while doing a little bit of research for Reservoir Dogs, just, kind of browsing over some information regarding that. Which I haven't seen yet, but look forward to. But this being the first of Quentin's, writer director films, the chunk, the whole piece of art that he has started to create, and I think he's only doing 10 of them so far. He's done 9. And after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I wanted to revisit a lot of these older movies from Tarantino that I haven't watched in a while. This being one of them, and it's great. I mean, it's a movie for those that haven't watched it, right? It features a lot of what Tarantino's great at: dialogue, realistic dialogue too. Like you're seeing. It's a bunch of, criminals that are getting together. They don't know each other. They're getting together to do a jewelry heist, and the boss has gotten all these guys together. They're all given different names, so they don't know each other, so they can maintain anonymity. Like Mr. White, Mr. Orange, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Pink, and so on and so forth. And it's a heist movie where you never see the heist. You see these characters before the heist. You see kind of the aftermath. You see the conclusion of after the heist. It kind of, the movie starts with them having a conversation in a diner pre-heist. Then it goes to just after the heist where like things have clearly gone wrong and you're seeing all these characters in separate places. And then while you're seeing the story, it jumps back to like, oh, I'm talking about this guy. Let me tell you how this guy kind of got in the mix. And then you kind of see how certain characters kind of came to be part of this heist, including an undercover cop. But it's just like a very simple movie, but highlights Tarantino's ability to write amazing dialogue, right? I mean, a lot of people give him shit for using the N-word, but, what people don't want to realize is that out in the wild, I mean, we've kind of got a bit of a wake-up call with the current president and the fact that a lot of people voted for him, specifically for racial reasons, that there are people out in the world that are using the quote-unquote bad words that kind of more civilized society has decided to move past. So the fact that Tarantino is writing, I mean, first off, this movie came out in 92, so you have to take into account just where culture was. I mean, we've changed culturally. There's been a lot of good movements progressively recently that in the 90s they were known, but still like it's weird how like things were known before, but finally as a culture we're kind of acting woke about the whole thing. It took us like a few generations to wipe the sleep from our eyes to realize that like we need to stop marginalizing like small groups, but for criminals in the 90s to like hold them to a language standard when they're talking shit with other criminals who are getting ready to, rob, do armed robbery. It's like, yeah, they're going to have really bad language. They're not. And that's like where you see in Tarantino, because he writes such real and raw like their characters, the way they speak are like just the conversations that are had, the words, the vernacular of the characters. It's all very grounded and real, I would say. And this movie definitely highlights that. You definitely see where he's coming from with something that you see in all of his movies. Have the writing and dialogue in all of his movies are so classic that you know you see that it's something that he it was with him from the beginning. And then also you're like watching that opening scene where they're discussing the Madonna song "Like a Virgin," which the conversation they're having is one thing, but then what the camera's doing is it makes the conversation, instead of just having a long static shot, it's a lot of like panning shots like around the table, very similar to the scene of the TV show that in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where the actor is doing that TV show, and he fucks up a line, so they have to reset the camera, and the camera's kind of swiveling around the outside as they're. It's very similar in a way where it gives you like an energy. There's a kind of a kinetic energy with the camera movements that even though it's just a bunch of guys sitting around a table talking about what they think the song "Like a Virgin" means, it gives a pace to it. It doesn't allow the conversation to be something that's slow and boring, or it helps with the momentum. But a lot of this is very much just really great acting, really great directing, and just really original way to kind of tell a story in like chunks of like jumping back and forth between the main thing of what's going on, the aftermath of this crime that went wrong, and then kind of seeing where everybody kind of what led them to that place, including the police officer, which Tim Roth's character, although maybe his accent not holding up as much, still interesting to see. Like, he is almost portraying an actor learning lines to a script, because there's like this story that he has to tell that just to kind of, because people have stories, and if you're in the thing and you're like trying to be undercover, then you should have stories, and you should have some crazy stories about shit that's happened. So it's like he's trying to learn these lines to be convincing when he's undercover, and it's just you compare that scene to, again, going back to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just the love that Tarantino has for the art of acting and showing a lot of that kind of process within his films, whether it be a police officer, who's learning his line to deliver a story correctly, or it's, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, trying to learn his lines. But yeah, it's a really great movie. I don't know how high I would have this movie in the Tarantino rankings. I feel it would be on the lower end, just because I think he's gotten so much better as a storyteller, and he maybe not playing around with the linear or the non-linear nature of his storytelling as much as he used to. But I think what he does, what he gained from that kind of rebellious storytelling, is he's fine-tuned it a bit for his newer movies. But yeah, I don't know exactly where this one would fall in the whole thing, but it maybe like third from the bottom or so. It's I'd say maybe Death Proof would be lower than this, and maybe one other movie, but I haven't officially gone over my Tarantino rankings. So that'll be that. As soon as I finish revisiting all of them, maybe in the next month or so, I'll do a Tarantino top 10 and go over why I made those decisions. That's it for this episode. New episodes of this show come out every day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my original artwork over on my website, inspireddisorder.com, and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS for Ray Taylor Show. That's it. At Ray Taylor for me on all social media. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out.